In this video, I'm going to share with you a couple things I went over in class last week about how to highlight cells so they're more easily visible. You can add color to them, how to hide cells for graphing, and then how to do graphing with Google Sheets. So the first thing is how to highlight these rows. This total right here is how many red Sour Patch Kids the entire class had. And this row, so right here, total of the column. This is the total of the row, so this is how many Sour Patch Kids that this person sitting at 2G had. So I want these two because I think the totals are kind of important and I want to keep track of those. So I'm going to click and drag. Click and drag means click, hold the button, and just move your finger across the pad, so it holds all these cells. If you click and then click again, it'll copy into each cell. You don't want to do that. All right, so I'm going to choose this color because I like the color and I can still see the numbers. Some colors are too dark. I can also then do the same thing for here. I'm going to grab the total rows column, total rows title, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag and I'm going to choose a different color. I'm going to choose this one to be yellow. Okay. So that's just for highlighting cells. Now for graphing. Um, Again, you're going to use that click and drag functions across the cells that you want to compare to answer some question that you might have. Make sure you grab the top columns for all of these so that will be the labels so you know what's going on your graph when you make it. I'm going to grab table groups all the way down to how many greens. I don't want the totals for this one. I just want this. I let go, and then under these three dots, click on that. Find this little icon that says Insert Chart. Click on that, and there you have a graph. Now this is the column chart we talked about that's good for comparing different things. And we'd look at this and see if we like this and is this going to answer a question. Are the labels correct? We might need to add a label on this side, and I can show you how to do that in class. Okay. I also can change this chart to be maybe I don't want it this way. I want it to be a bar chart. Now, in my opinion, that's a little hard to read. So I'm going to go back under this chart type, and I'm going to go back and I'm put it back into columns because columns seem to work well. Okay. And you can do that as many times as you want until you get a chart that actually visually represents what question you're trying to answer and helps people understand it. Now, while I'm here, there's a couple other things we should take a look at. One is that it says how many reds, but the red bar is colored in blue. So if I hold my cursor over the blue bars, you can see that all the blue bars are selected. So I'm going to click on that. And then it says how many reds. And it under series, it may not show, but if I click series, it may open it up for you. It says how many reds, but it's blue. If I come down here and I read these as fill color, I can change the color here. So I'm going to click on that, and I want this to be red. There you have it. Then I can click on this series and I can go down. I want how many blues. Well, that needs to be blue. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to make that blue, and so forth. You can go all the straight down the line for all of these. Yellows is yellow. That's good. Orange is not orange. Let's click that one. We'll make that an orange color. There it is. And then the last one, how many greens? We need to fix that to be green. And again, whatever colors suit your fancy. Now you notice that it also changed these up here. Excellent. So there you have it. How many reds, how many blues, how many greens for each of the people. Now for this, I can then also edit the chart and do some different things in there. That edit chart comes in. I could delete it. I can copy the chart. You're going to need that to then add it to your Google Doc for your final assignment. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to delete this chart because I want to show you a couple other things you can do. Okay. So I want to actually graph the total number of each color for the class, but I have all this information here in the middle. And if I try to just highlight this one and highlight this one, the program doesn't know what to do with it. So what we need to do is something called hide cells. So to hide cells, I'm going to left click on the 2, which is the row, and I'm going to hold that click down, and I'm going to drag it until it gets to the bottom row, and then I'm going to let go. And then I need to right click in that with those highlighted rows, and I'm going to hide rows. It says hide rows 2 to 14. Now I have these 2 rows right next to each other. So what I can do now is do the same thing I did before. I'm going to highlight. I'm going to grab them all. I'm going to click here on the 3 dots, click on the graph tool, and now I have total versus table group, which is pretty cool. Now it actually added the title total to this. So now we can see that this is the number of totals. And then table groups is labeled here. So grabbing those 2 labels here on our chart helped us label everything else. You can actually then change this title if you wanted to be the question that you're asking about this. And then again, if I click on that, if I click on this series, that I can change this to red, which is helpful because it's better for me to take a look at this in the colors they actually are. And now we can actually answer that question, whatever that question is. Okay. The only thing I would change on this besides the color would be the title of this lab, because total versus table group doesn't mean anything to anybody else. So so there you have it. And then again, you can come in this 3 dots and you can copy the chart and then paste it into your document. Okay, for now, let me delete this and show you how to unhide columns. So I hid the columns, and now I see that I have these 2 little arrows here. So if I want to unhide columns that are above 1, which there are none, or columns or cells, that's not going to work. But I click this, and it's going to reveal everything. I could also do something like this really quickly. I could grab this column, I can drag it over here, click and drag, right click to hide columns, and now I have a way to highlight just the table group and their total and the total rows, which actually is the total of in their bag. I can click on that, and now I can compare who had the most, what was the approximate amount of Sour Patch Kids at every table, at every package. So there you have it. You could change these colors. I don't know if it means anything, but definitely change this title and make sure you have labels on each of your groups. This over here, the chart editor, will help you do a lot of that. And if we can't find it, we can certainly take a look at, if we can't find something, you and I can look at it together. Okay, so that is how to highlight cells, how to hide cells for graphing, and then also how to get the graphs you want to answer questions. Okay, with that, I'm going to sign off. Happy graphing.